Hello everyone, hello and good evening. Welcome to 𝙑𝙘𝙣𝙧𝙖𝙗𝙡𝙀 Facebook Live. So today we are very honored to have a Dharma Chit Chat session with Venerable Steve Kalia as well as 𝙑𝙧𝙬𝙧𝙧. So tonight's program will be an English Dharma Chit Chat session instead of a Chinese teaching. So right now we are in the last phase of our preparation, and very soon we will invite 𝙑𝙑𝙣𝙧𝙖 to lead us in the prayers before teaching. Thank you. So right now you can sit back, ground yourselves, and get ready for the Dharma Chit Chat session. So also for those who are watching on YouTube, if you have any questions later, if there's a chance for a Q&A session, you may post your questions on the YouTube chat, and we will read out your questions on your behalf to Venerable Steve Kalia. Thank you.
If you do not have the text, you need to scan. You don't have the text? Oh, yeah. Om Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Sambara Sambara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. Om Smara Smara Vimana Sara Mahajavahong. I take refuge in the Gurus, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Gurus, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Gurus, I take refuge in the Buddhas, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By the merits from listening to the Dhamma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By the merits from listening to the Dhamma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By the merits from listening to the Dhamma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. In particular, I must achieve enlightenment quickly in order to free all numberless kind mother sentient beings from the unimmeasurable ocean of samsaric sufferings and lead them to peerless full enlightenment. For this purpose, I must listen and thereafter put into practice the teachings of the profound Buddha Dharma. Tayata shame shamawati shamita shankru angre mangre marosite karote kyore tezovati oloyani ushuda nimani manapanaye kukri kaka grase grasani omoki para moki amoki shamitani sawa graha panda nani negehitwa sawa para pawadina wimuta mara pasha sidabita buddha mudra Anun Gadita Sawa Mari Padarita Parishudi Vigasantu Sawa Mara Kramani. I prostrate to the gathering of Dakinis of the three places, coming from the supreme holy sites of space enjoying, who have the powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation, and regard practitioners as their offspring. Aka Samarata Shadarasa Marayapi. Aka Samarata Shadarasa Marayapi. Aka Samarata Shadarasa Marayapi. Tayata gati kati parakati parasam gati puri soha. Tayata gati kati parakati parasam gati puri soha. Tayata gati kati parakati parasam gati puri soha. Through the power of the great truth of the words of the exalted three jewels, may all adverse conditions be overcome. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. May all the evils such as enemies, obstacles and hindrances and adverse conditions be pacified. Shatim Kuruye Soha. May the 80,000 types of obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from adverse harmful conditions. May everything conducive be obtained, and by the auspiciousness of everything good, may there be excellent happiness here and now. May all sentient beings achieve extraordinary superior happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from the unbearable sea of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from the bliss of sublime liberation. May all sentient beings be free of all bias, attachment, and anger to near ones and aversion to others. To accomplish my own and others' aims, I join the altruistic intention to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. To accomplish my own and others' aims, I generate the altruistic intention to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. To accomplish my own and others' aims, I generate the altruistic intention to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Reverently, I posture my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actually offered to mentally transform. I confess all my negative actions accumulated since beginner's time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends, and turn the wheel of Dhamma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of others and myself to the great enlightenment. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of Sangha of monks and a great gathering of Sangha Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination, and at the same time, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasava, while practicing the profound prajna paramita, so in this way, he saw the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Sariputra said to Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasava, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice a profound prajna paramita? Addressed in this way, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasava, said to Venerable Sariputra, O Sariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice a profound prajna paramita should see in this way, seeing the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness. Emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Sariputra, all dhammas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Sariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dhammas, no I dhatu up to no mind dhatu, no dhatu of dhammas, no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance up to no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Sariputra, since the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of prajna paramita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear, they transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the 3 times by means of prajna paramita fully awaken to unsurpassable true complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra prajna paramita, mantra of great insights, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that comes all suffering should be known as truth. Since there is no deception, the prajna paramita mantra is said in this way: Tayata Om Gate Gate Bhargate Parasam Gate Buri Soha. Thus, Sariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasava should train to perform prajna paramita. Then the Blessed One arose from the samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasava, saying, "Good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is. O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice to perform prajna paramita just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice." When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Sariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasava, the whole assembly, and the wealth of his gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Okay, we'll take a break here.
So thank you, Anita Chen, in leading us in tonight's prayer before teaching. So once again, good evening to everyone joining us on site and online via YouTube or Facebook. So today we are very honored, and it's our pleasure to have a Dharma Chit session with Venerable Steve Kalia. So there will be no Chinese teaching tonight, right? So right now, as it is in the month of May, and Vesak Day is in about 3.5 weeks time, let me introduce to you the upcoming events that Tekchen Choling will be organizing for Vesak and also in the upcoming week. So first up tomorrow is Gyapsi Puja. So it's a puja that is transmitted by Shakyamuni Buddha, and this puja is extensive and renowned Vajrayana ritual aimed at purifying obstacles and dispelling harm. So participants are encouraged to attend in person, bring along some coins and also a small piece of cut fabric about 3 by 3 inches from a worn and unwashed t-shirt or top that you have. So as the puja is already starting tomorrow at 3 p.m., you may come down tomorrow in the morning to deposit the items that I've just mentioned, which is the cloth and the coins. And for those who are available at this time, you may sit in during the puja and join in as well. Next, on the 18th of May, which is Saturday in 2 weeks' time, there will be organizing a journey with Buddha. So embark on this unique journey of love, friendship, and blessing, and we follow the path of our Vesak processional float, carrying the sacred rupa and relics of Shakyamuni Buddha from downtown the neighborhoods of our island city-state. So to find out more, you can scan the QR code and get ready to look and have and enjoy the sights our float can bring to you. Next, on the 11th, which is in 2 weeks' time, we will be celebrating Manjushri's Bodhisattva's birthday. There will be an ocean of offering clouds raining down good fortune at 8 a.m. and also Chinese chanting, a grand offering before all Buddhas. So this is Chinese chanting in celebration of Lord Manjushri's birthday on the lunar calendar. So for those who would like to join us in the chanting session at 11 a.m., do bring your hai qing, or you can always sit in the main hall during the Chinese chanting as well to participate in the grand offering. So next up is the recitation of the Great Celestial Mansion Sutra. So this sutra was also taught and introduced to us by Singha Rinpoche last year. So this year we will also be reciting this sutra again over 3 sessions, part 1 on the 8th, part 2 on the 11th, and part 3 on the 12th. So on the 8th is a weekday, Wednesday at 8 p.m. and 11 and 12 is a weekend at 1 p.m. So do join us in this Chinese chanting session to accumulate merit and also to dedicate our merits to all beings at the same time. Next, on Vesak Eve is Tekchen Choling's Animal Blessing Night. So the event will start at 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. For all of y'all who have joined us before, as you know, we would occupy the road that is facing the temple, and we build a tentage to allow everyone with pets, to bring them down and to roam around together to mingle with us. And so this event starts at 7:30 p.m. Do come down for those who can make it earlier, there will be a queue. And also, there will be awareness booth from N Parks, AVS Acres, Action for Singapore Dogs, Bunny Wonderland, Meta Cats and Dog Sanctuary. So you can find out about more of their charitable initiatives for pets on that night itself. So following on, 22nd of May is our Vesak Day celebration where we have a carnival. So on this day, there will be the highlights of the unveiling of the giant wish-filling tanga, merit-making opportunities, there will be a blessing session. There will also be a special teaching by 𝙑𝙧𝙧𝙧𝙧 Rinpoche. For more of our program, you can look at the website for the Vesak Day program. And for those who would like to attend 𝙑𝙧𝙧𝙧 Rinpoche's teaching, do check out the website, find out the timing, and so that you can come down and sit in this very special teaching by 𝙑𝙧𝙧 Rinpoche. For those who want to attend the wish fulfilling tanga unveiling, so do check out the program on the website also, so that you can come down in time to catch the unveiling ceremony. So yes, I mentioned, so you can scan this QR code on screen right now, or you may also check out the Thich Choling's website on the Vesak Day event page. Thank you, everyone. So very soon we will be inviting 𝙑𝙧 Rinpoche and Venerable Steve to start today's Dharma Chit Chat session. Thank you.
Yeah. Please offer 3 prostrations.
So for those who are joining us online, please offer 3 prostrations.
Oh, okay, they can see. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Yes, I'll stand here, okay? Can you see me? No, cannot see me? I'll stand here, okay. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Joanne. Today, very, very happy to welcome our special guest, Venerable Steve. And Venerable, I think you heard the introduction of Venerable from Chris yesterday. Maybe let me just reiterate a little bit. These are facts. So Venerable Steve 𝙑𝙧𝙧𝙧, he is, how to say, it's a very, okay, let me just introduce him, how I know him. To me, Venerable is very kind, and the essence of how he teach and translate the Buddha Dharma is very special. So he has been studying Buddhism since 1977. And he first got ordained by Kyabje Lama Zupa Rinpoche, and then fully ordained by the Circle Zen-Sharp Rinpoche the following year. He spent 11 years in Nalanda in France, another 11 years in Serra Monastery. Currently, he's based in Land of Medicine Buddha in the United States, in San Francisco. So if you happen to go there, I think it's a very wonderful place to visit. He has kindly accepted the invitation to do a Dharma Chit Chat today. And the topic, like you saw in the publication, is on Bodhicitta, the foundation of universal love. So put your hands together. Let's welcome the guest and Rinpoche.
Hi, so now my turn to introduce him as I know him, why I invited him. Okay, for as long as I know, Venerable Steve is one of the Inji monks that even Lama Kunchok say, Lama Kunchok himself approved of. Okay, my Holy Father Guru Vajradhara. Yeah, and also Venerable Steve, I'm very grateful to him because he still translates for Guru Parinpoche, okay, and he translates very well. And this something that I really treasure is serving the Guru with pure views. And that is something that is so rare in these days. And serving the Guru with pure view is just one thing. The other thing is we have to reflect that he's already 68 years old. He spent how many years studying and practicing the Dharma, and like what he said, if you want to do it, you will do it. If you want to learn Tibetan, you will learn Tibetan. If you put your mind to anything, you will do it. And it's inspiring because it's not a matter of just becoming a monk or a nun or becoming a practitioner just to show people. I've never seen him doing anything for show, as much as my own personal observation. And so he's one venerable, Western venerable, I really honor and trust from my heart. Really, in very, very respect him. All right. The other venerable is Venerable George. Yes, Venerable George Cherinov. Right. Both these Western venerable, really, I respect from my heart. So I'm very, very. The last time I went to San Francisco, I looked for him, but they said he was not there. So there's some Chinese saying "cha jian er guo," no? This he lives there. They told me, say that's where he lives, but he wasn't there. So I was disappointed, and I prayed there and said, "Oh, may I meet Venerable Steve again and again and again." Then I prayed very much at that time at the money wheel in Land of Medicine Buddha, and so I'm very happy this time he comes to Singapore, and he accept my request to come and share. Even though I requested him to come and give a teaching, he says that, oh, if he was some famous Lama, it's a different case. But now, what I want to say is, like I said before, it's not about who is being famous and who is being famous or not, but even the village Lama who knows you, the village Lama who can teach you and talk to you and let us face ourselves, that's the most beneficial Lama. So to me, Venerable Steve is one such excellent bhikkhu, okay? Yeah, has really dedicated his life in thought, deed and action. He really, in my own observation, he really practiced renunciation, bodhicitta, and the right view of emptiness. He really practiced guru devotion. He really practiced from his heart, and he translates perfectly. In my mind, when I see him translate, he's not easily shocked at people's questions, and then he tries to understand, and then he will just ask as accordingly. So, and to me, he's also very well educated, very well experienced. So in that, I say I pay homage to this bhikkhu, this fully ordained monk. So this one really very to me honorable bhikshu, yeah. And so I requested him to come. So everybody, please give a welcome.
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, thank you, Rinpoche, for all those nice things, and I hope that eventually I will be able to live up to them. You already did. Quite a few years ago, I was in Germany, a little center which is closed down by now, called the Ariastara Country Center at Jägendorf, and I was there with my teacher translating for him, and this woman came up to me and she expressed being so pleased to meet me, having heard so much about me, and including she'd read my books, and she really liked my books. So when she said she was very pleased to meet me, I was thinking, oh, that's nice. But when she said she'd really appreciated my books, then I knew she was talking about a different Steve. It wasn't me, Steve Batchelor. She thought that I was Steve Batchelor. So I'm even wondering whether perhaps Rinpoche is getting me mixed up with somebody else when he's saying all these nice things. You do realize this is Steve Kalia, right? Anyway, so anyway, it's a great honor to be invited here, for Rinpoche to have invited me, and not to mention kind of amazing. But anyway, it's very nice to be here with you. I think I would like us to start off, first of all, thinking for a couple of minutes about the real reason that we're here. And I think you all know, I mean, this place is called Tekjing Churling, so you know this is all about Mahayana, and which means it's all about what can I do that's the most useful for others? What can I do which is most useful for the mother sentient beings? The Lamas often say mother sentient beings who are equal to the extent of space, in other words, just infinite mother sentient beings. So this time that we're spending together is not mainly about me, but those mother sentient beings. So try to think about them, focus your mind on them, and try to make a firm decision that this time we're going to spend together this evening is for them. If possible, try to make the firm decision this is to help towards the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all those mother sentient beings, and so that I can in some way become a better person, so that I'll be able to gradually achieve enlightenment and lead them to that kind of happiness, which is their potential, just like it's my potential. So please think in that way as much as you can, as strongly as you can. Okay, so one thing is I'm very happy that I wasn't actually asked, well, the way it was put to me originally, not to teach, because actually to teach in front of Rinpoche and all you guys who have so much experience and knowledge about the Dharma would be a bit embarrassing, a bit pretentious. But to chat about the Dharma, I thought that's just right. I can do that. Chatting about bodhicitta. And somehow I had an idea about what I wanted to talk about right from the beginning. So I'm going to carry on with that. Maybe it's just a sign of me being rigid. I don't know. But I think it would be nice to talk about bodhicitta, and I have an idea what I like to do. So bodhicitta, the awakening mind. Maitreya describes bodhicitta as wanting to achieve full enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the sake of others. And I think when we think about bodhicitta, a lot of the time, for many of us, the emphasis is on wanting to achieve enlightenment, wanting to become Buddha, and missing the first bit, the main bit, which is for the sake of all sentient beings. Actually, in the Tibetan, for the sake of all sentient beings is the first thing that's mentioned. For the sake of all sentient beings. So that's the main thing. For the sake of all sentient beings, what? What can I do for the sentient beings? I need to achieve enlightenment. Then I'll really be able to help them. I have to realize my own full potential so that I can help them. Really help them. So one thing then is, because we say for the sake of all sentient beings, what it means is, just like I want happiness, I want to be really happy and completely free of all kinds of suffering. I'm sorry, I've got my back to all of you people over there. So just like I want to be happy and I don't like suffering, which is what the Lamas always say, right? Just like I don't want suffering and I want to be happy, also all sentient beings are the same. So for the sake of all sentient beings means in order to be able to bring them to the happiness that they want. They don't know about the happiness of enlightenment, of course, but that's what they really need. Perfect happiness, complete happiness, pure, unadulterated happiness, not just limited, short-term happiness which is polluted with the grasping and selfishness. Real happiness. And freedom from suffering. So, for the sake of all sentient beings means to bring them that happiness and to free them from suffering completely, forever. And that's why compassion is so important, because compassion is the mind that wants to free all sentient beings from suffering, isn't it right? So it means being aware of the suffering of others and wanting them to be free of that suffering. And so actually this brings up all sorts of questions when you think about it. Of course, it's a nice idea, enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, in order to free them from suffering, in order to make them happy. It's a nice idea, but it has to be something that comes from the heart. It has to be something that's realistic. And how does it come from the heart? How does that kind of wish come from the heart. And His Holiness talks about one of the amazing things about bodhicitta being that it gives you this supreme confidence. So why does it give you that supreme confidence? Where does that confidence come from? I'm not sure I know the answer myself, but I think I can make some stab at what might be the answer. I mean, think about compassion for one thing. Okay, so what's compassion? I mean, I just said, but anyway, so what's compassion? Right? Compassion is seeing the suffering of others, not being willing to just leave them to their suffering. You want to do something. So now in real life, what you find, I mean, okay, so in our meditation we try to be very equanimous, try to feel compassion for all sentient beings equal and so on. But like in real life, there are people that are a kind of pain in the neck. You kind of feel like they're a pain in the neck. All right? And so, and there are people, unless you're already very well evolved on the path, there are people, you know, when you hear about things going a little bit badly for them, there's this little bit of a feeling of glee in the mind, right? And when you hear of things going well for them, you feel a little bit kind of, could be jealous, could be resentment. Anyway, you don't really like it. And that's how things are at the moment. And that's really because of not having equanimity. Equanimity is no easy thing. You know, with meditating on bodhicitta, there's two different ways for meditating on bodhicitta. There's the 7 cause and effect instruction. That's all to do with, you know, meditating all sentient beings as one's mother. And then the method from Shantideva that involves equalizing, exchanging self and others. So the first thing to do with when you're meditating on bodhicitta by, you know, recognizing all sentient beings as your mother is equanimity. And it seems like it's a preliminary practice, and quite often, you know, if it's a preliminary practice, we think it's sort of something you just have to get out of the way and then get on with the real thing, the main thing. But actually, equanimity is really important. So the way that my teachers have explained it to me, recently I heard from 𝙑𝙑𝙧𝙖𝙗𝙡𝙀, teacher in San Francisco, the way he talked about it. So meditating on equanimity is like making the ground even when you want to build a house. So you've got all the dips and the mounds, and if you try to build a house on that, you can't. So you need to fill in the dips and even out the mounds and so on, make it all flat. Then you can build a house. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So the house you're trying to build, obviously, is bodhicitta. And so you see, as long as we don't have the equanimity, it's very strange. You know, you can feel quite strongly, I really do want to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, for the sake of all sentient beings, no matter who they are. But it's like they're these sentient beings, and especially I feel almost like it's, because we always say equal to the extent of space. So it's like all these sentient beings sort of out there in space. You get that kind of image, right? All these countless sentient beings in space. And like nothing to do with me. Just somewhere up there and floating around in space, wanting to achieve enlightenment for their sake. But actually, when it comes down to, it's almost like our bodhicitta, our compassion, our loving kindness and so on, it's for the sake of all sentient beings except the ones that I'm living with, except the ones I know. Anyway, it's the equanimity. So equanimity means dealing with the people around you, actually, the people in your world. Probably people that are living near to you, people you work with, could be even family members, but you know, people you work with, neighbors. That kind of thing. It could be people that you know live a long way away that you just hear about, and hearing about them it sort of fills you with anger and so on because of what the kind of things they're doing. But I think the main one is the one that is close to you, the one that you actually interact with. And so one approach is you think about somebody you think of as, well, the one that you kind of feel happy when you hear about their misfortune, right? So thinking about how this person, in this life they might have hurt me in some way, but this person in the past so many times has done so much for me. I mean, I know we think about that in connection with the thinking of the kindness of the mother, is true. But in general, I think that it's really helpful to get into. There's a particular space to put your mind in. It's to do with maybe remembering. Not, I mean, most of us can't remember past lives. Maybe some people can, but most of us can't. But I mean, there are people in our lives that we feel very close to, right? That have done so much for us that we feel very close to. It's almost like we've given them our lives. They've given us their lives. And can you imagine betraying them? Can you imagine doing that? It would be awful, wouldn't it? Somebody that's been so kind to you, and you betray them, you turn your back on them, you repay their kindness with harm, with insults, putting them down, whatever. It would be terrible, wouldn't it? So each sentient being has been that for us. Each sentient being, and here the focus, on the person who's maybe harmed you anyway, the ones that you don't like, the ones that you feel happy about when they suffer. Think about that person. That's your betrayal. If you feel that way towards that person, you're betraying them. This person was so close to you in past lives, and many past lives. They did so much for you. They did so much for me. How could I forget that? How could I betray them? That's a terrible betrayal. So, I mean, things don't just change overnight, but thinking in this way really helps, I think. It really helps. So then, although that meditation, in that way is very powerful for dealing with feelings of enmity towards and dislike towards some people, then also, for when we do have like really exaggerated attachment to some people, then, you know, thinking about, well, actually this person has also done me a lot of harm in the past. So to even it out, it's getting rid of the mounds and filling in the dips, right? This person has also harmed me so much in the past. In order to tone down that grasping, which is also, we're talking about a kind of attachment which is destructive in our relationship with that person, destructive in our own lives, destructive to us, destructive to them. Too much grasping can be quite, can be quite destructive, can't it? So there's that also. And then of course the person we don't really care so much about. Remembering that person, you know, they've also been very important to us, and it's just not right to feel like that kind of neutral feeling about them, like not really caring one way or the other about them. So I just want to say one more thing about the equanimity, which is what my teacher again, Tetsuk, used to say about it, which I always used to find a bit, I was always a little bit surprised about and puzzled about. He would always say, you know, the person that you're attached to, the person that we call friend, if you think about why you feel that way towards them, it's because of some little thing that they've done for us. Some little way in which they've helped us or pleased us. His emphasis was always on some little thing. And likewise with the enemy, there's some little thing that they've done to harm us. And it is true that even a very small thing can make you feel so close to a person. Like somebody just smiles at you, and that's a big thing for you, and you feel very close to that person. And somebody just scowls at you, and it's like you can't stand them. Particularly if somebody gives us something, then of course, they're friends for life. So, yeah, but his emphasis on some little thing. So I wonder what he meant by that. I never asked him. I didn't dare. Yeah, some little thing, some small thing. Because it seems like it's not always always a small thing, right? Some people do some pretty awful things. But I wonder, there's this very special way of meditating on equanimity, which is like a special Mahayana way of meditating on equanimity. It's a meditation on equanimity in 9 steps. It's very nice, actually. And one of those steps is thinking. So having thought about how all sentient beings are so kind, then dealing with the question or the thought that might come up, well, they've been very kind, is true, but they've also harmed me a lot in past lives. If we're thinking, if we're going to, be really fair, they've helped me. Thinking of this life, past lives, all different types of level on which people can help you. So that's true. But what about they've also harmed me, haven't they? So doesn't that cancel the kindness out? So in this meditation, what you're encouraged to think is that yes, they've harmed us, but that's far outweighed by the kindness. they've helped us much more than they've harmed us. So you should be thinking, why is that? Wouldn't you think they're more likely to cancel each other out? Anyway, so that's something to think about, something interesting to think about, I think. But that's what they say, that's what the Lamas say. Now maybe they don't mean it, maybe they're just saying it. Anyway, so we have to think about that. One thing that seems true to me is that when people are being kind, that's their true nature showing through. When they're being unkind, it's like the demon of the mental afflictions, the delusions has taken over, and that's kind of like obscuring their true nature. So there's something much more real about their kindness than about their harm. Anyway, so I do think, and it seems also like according to the Lamrim teachings, Stage of the Path teachings, you're not really going to have genuine meditation on loving kindness and compassion, and then based on that bodhicitta, if you don't have a firm foundation of equanimity. So usually equanimity is supposed to be the opposite of dividing people into friend, enemy and stranger, right? That's how they usually put it. Being attached to the friend and being prepared to do all sorts of things for them, make all kinds of sacrifice for them. And then the person who's harmed us, the enemy, who wanted to harm them back, not liking them, and so on. The person who's done neither one nor the other, not really caring one way or the other about them. Okay, so let's see. I think first of all, before carrying on, maybe we can spend a few minutes reflecting on that. What do you think? Yes? Let's do that then. Yeah?
Hello. So Venerable, I mean, do you mind if I ask questions?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
a chit chat, yeah?
Yes.
So you asked us to contemplate what you said just now. When you were speaking, something came to my mind. So just want to hear your thoughts about what's going in here. You mentioned that when things are unkind, it's kind of the demonic delusion that is coming, right? So it's a delusion. So what went through my mind is like, why is kindness not a delusion as well? Now, if kindness is also a delusion, it's like something you think about and perceive, because some people, when receive kindness, there are many, many other emotions that follow. You know, I have to repay kindness, I have to, many things build on. Even unkind things, many things build on when it comes about. It was just thinking like to neutralize equanimity across. Yeah, it just came to my mind that, is it the right way to think about kindness is also a form of delusion itself. All are delusional based, so we are calmer, and then we can treat everybody about the same. I don't know if I'm making sense, but whether you have heard anything like that. Chit chat. Yeah.
Well, one thing, so we use this word delusion a lot, right? I'm not quite sure who the first one was who decided that this word klesha in Sanskrit or nyomon in Tibetan should be translated as delusion. In a way, if we think about, our general everyday understanding of what delusion means, you must be deluded, you're deluding yourself, deceiving yourself. So something to do with not seeing things realistically. So that is true, I think, with the mental afflictions, they do have that characteristic. But otherwise, something I heard His Holiness the Dalai Lama say a few times is that the very word, in Tibetan anyway, nyulmong, it has this connotation of like something bad. And I never knew what he meant until actually Geshe-Ngam Rabba explained that in Old Tibetan, if somebody had come to visit you after a long journey, you would ask them nyumong songe. In other words, something like, did you get nyumong? Which doesn't make sense. Anyway, what it means is, was it difficult for you? Did you have difficulties? What kind of journey did you have? Was it a difficult journey? So the original meaning of that word in Tibetan is something like difficult, tiring. And so calling these what we call, I don't know, mental afflictions or disturbing emotions and so on, nyumong, for the Tibetans immediately has that connotation of something which causes discomfort and dis-ease in the mind, agitation in the mind. Okay, so what you do when your mind is in that state is not kindness. So really, the connection between the mental afflictions and lack of mental afflictions, or delusions if you like, and on the one hand, and then the kindness, unkindness. Kindness, I would say, is what you do and say, particularly when your mind is free of these mental afflictions. And when your mind is in the control of those mental afflictions, then what you do and what you say is unkind. So, I mean, you've only got to think about the 10 non-virtues, you know, like killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and so on. You know, all these things which harm other people, which you're doing out of anger, attachment, maybe ignorance. So I think it's a bit more like that. Does that help? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so I think there's time to talk a bit more, and then, I don't know, we can have more. Actually, I don't know if people prefer to just talk, or whether I should say a few more things. Keep going. Let it flow. I like that. That sounds good. But I think I'll try to make sure that I guide where it flows, though. Otherwise, we could end up anywhere. Okay, so what I want to say, because actually my original idea, there's just not time. I was thinking to myself, so that's really important. You know, the equanimity, that's very important, definitely. That's the foundation. Somehow, bodhicitta is meaningless without compassion, and compassion is not going to work without the equanimity. It's just not going to work. It's going to be a partial compassion. Compassion is not an easy thing. It's not a simple thing. It can be. It might sound it. You know, it's just a question of you know, really opening up to the suffering of others and feeling for others, feeling close to others. But again, you know, so where does that feeling of closeness come from? We don't feel compassion for people that we don't like. We're happy to hear about their suffering. So, you know, it's a huge thing, this, actually. But anyway, I was thinking to myself, so bodhicitta itself, you know, just that word, there's so much to meditate on. Just the word bodhicitta. Chanchukisem. So bodhicitta. Bodhicitta in Tibetan, Chanchukisem. So sometimes we translate it as the mind of enlightenment, which means the mind intent on achieving enlightenment. Changchup. So when the lamas and the geshes are explaining Changchup, like when they're explaining Sangye. No. It's all, it really, yeah, so Sangye, it's to do with having completely purified all kinds of, yeah, negative karma, anything negative, anything limiting, anything destructive. And then Gye means like all of the good qualities, bringing them to their culmination, like bringing them to perfection. That's enlightenment. And so there's a whole lot of meditation to do there. Huge, I mean, it's like a lifetime's study, a lifetime's meditation, a lifetime's practice. Just that word, actually, bodhicitta. Especially the bodhi, changchup. Because what it's talking about is, you see, when the mind of enlightenment, the mind wanting to achieve enlightenment, for the sake of all sentient beings, of course, right? Like I said at the beginning, the mind wanting to achieve enlightenment. So what is this enlightenment? Where is that enlightenment? Whose enlightenment? It's our own enlightenment, right? And that enlightenment is not like somewhere out there that we're going to try and achieve, right? So if you've listened to 𝙑𝙧𝙧𝙖𝙗𝙡 Rinpoche teaching, he very often quotes the great Indian master, Nagabodhi, Louis Jiangchup, Nagabodhi. And I did memorize this verse once, but I've forgotten it. But I can remember the meaning, basically, which is, what he says is, your enlightenment is not something that sometime in the future somebody is going to hand to you. Your enlightenment is not something that up until now somebody has been holding on to for you. Your enlightenment is right there, fully formed inside you right now. And in fact, it always has been. So it's a question of actualizing that, if you like, or manifesting that. And it's really quite amazing, actually, to think about. We think about Buddhahood, enlightenment, the omniscient mind that we're going to achieve one day, that we have the potential of achieving. We've always had the potential of achieving. That when that day comes, when you achieve enlightenment, it's like it's an enlightenment that was there already. And of course you have to be very careful here, because otherwise you might end up thinking, oh, so actually we're already enlightened. We're already fully enlightened beings. We just have to realize it. But it's not like that. But still, it's kind of amazing. It's like the meditation which well, it's a kind of a meditation which is contained in a conversation that took place between Lama Atisha and his main disciple, Dromtompa. As I understood it, anyway, the way my teacher explained it, one time Atisha asked Dromtompa what he did in order to manage his mental afflictions. So Dromtompa said, well, the first thing is, I deal with them straight away. I don't let things get out of hand. As soon as I see they're beginning to rise, I deal with them. I work with them. And how I work with them is, I ask myself, where did this come from? The mental afflictions, where do they come from? Where do they go to? What color are they? What shape are they? What do they sound like? What's their sound, their smell, their taste, their tangibility? Of course, you know, the mental afflictions have no such thing. But asking that question helps to, it helps you to sort of vanish them. That's what he was talking about. And so it's a bit like that, actually. You know, like anger arises from the mind, and then when it subsides back into the mind. So it didn't really come from anywhere or go anywhere. It just came from within the mind itself and goes back into the mind itself. And like that, you know, if you think about it, we've all heard the idea that one day, you know, we can become arhats, we can go beyond cyclic existence, get rid of all the mental afflictions, right? All of the anger, the attachment, the ignorance. Where do they go to? When they go, where do they go to? That's really strange. Because, of course, it's not like you get rid of them by, like, throwing them out. They don't go anywhere. They go... Where do they go? It's like they go back into the mind, but they don't go back into the mind like they do at the moment. So, you know, next time somebody annoys us, they're going to come up again. So, you know, you have you work with the wisdom especially understanding emptiness, and you make them go so that they'll never come back again. But still, where did they go? And then so that's on the level of the afflictive obscurations. We talk about two kinds of obscuration that prevent achieving liberation and enlightenment. So that's that's the afflictive obscurations, which you know, vanish through meditating on emptiness. And then there's a more subtle obscuration, the knowledge obscurations, right? More subtle anyway, the ones that finally you have to get rid of in order to not just achieve liberation but achieve enlightenment. So then, where do they go? It's very strange. It's like eventually you achieve enlightenment by getting rid of these obscurations which don't go anywhere. When they've gone, where did they go? It's very funny, I find anyway. So anyway, I mean, this is all about, you know, the possibility of freeing ourselves from those obscuring factors and manifesting our own enlightenment, which in some way has always been there. But then how do you do it? It's through actually the two types of bodhicitta, right? So ultimate bodhicitta, meditating on emptiness. The conventional bodhicitta, the one that we normally think of as bodhicitta, the mind intent on achieving enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. Combination of those two is what gets rid of them, purifies that mind. So I think maybe that's a good time to have some chit-chat.
Dear Venerable, thank you for your sharing. So there's actually a question from our online audience. Can we have it on the screen? So dear Venerable, my girlfriend has been thinking about her ex-husband who passed away, and she keeps crying, but I do not know what to do, so can you teach me what to say to her?
Well, that's really good. That's very important, isn't it? So I mean, you know, I don't know how open she is to the advice that you might give her, but generally speaking, I often think of because, you know, I mean, I'm sure we've all had to deal with loss, that kind of loss, whether it's a parent, a sibling, or whatever, child. I think of what His Holiness, I've heard His Holiness says, which is that you allow the grief to run its course. You don't try to stop it, and you also make sure not to, I think I could say, like, feed it with, I mean, to put it in a sort of gross way, the kind of like, why me kind of thing, why me, that kind of thought. So actually a combination of just letting the grief run its course and wisdom. The wisdom which is able to understand that actually this is the most normal thing in the world. Everybody that comes into this world, they live for a certain amount of time and then they end up dying. Whether it's young or old, even as a baby, sometimes in the womb, it happens to us all. So not suppressing the grief, just allowing the grief to run its course, and then helping it along its way, I suppose, in a sense, by thinking of that kind of thing. You know, it's the most natural thing in the world. And I wonder, I don't know, this is not a Buddhist idea, something I heard recently, I can't remember his name, but it's somebody who spent many years at Auschwitz and survived Auschwitz. And so he had one friend there who was somehow inconsolable about his own wife having passed away. Maybe in Auschwitz, so I can't remember now. But this guy said to him, how would it have been for her if you died and she'd survived? And so he thought about how awful it would have been for her and how inconsolable she would have been. And so he said, so this guy said to the man, you know, whose wife had died, so her dying first has saved her from having to deal with that kind of suffering. So there are ways of thinking anyway, but I think that's maybe the main one is, yeah, like just recognizing it's the most natural thing in the world. There are other things, I don't know. What are other things that you would tell somebody who's dealing with grief?
My advice is to take this. Can I see the question again? If you love your girlfriend who is thinking about ex-husband who passed away and she keeps crying, you bring her to his ashes, the columbarium, or where he's buried, every week, so that there can be a closure. Like what Venerable Steve says, let the grief run. It's like children. Why do we grow up? Why have we grown old but not grown up? And we still misbehave like children? It's because we've been told to shut up and not allowed to cry as kids. And that's why when we grow old and not grown up, so we just grow old and not grown up, we don't dare to cry. We don't know how to feel angry. We don't know how to make decisions. We don't know how to feel sad. We don't know how to this and that, because many things were stopped for us when we were children. So if you love your girlfriend who lost her husband, then please bring her to the ex-husband's, if he's buried or if he's cremated, to the columbarium. Let her cry her heart out. Until then there is a closure, and you are there for her, with her, and that you didn't say that, oh, you are such a pain in my life, and then I'm going to dump you, and just let things slowly unfold. That's my viewpoint on it. Yeah. Just like I personally don't agree the Chinese Buddhist viewpoint say, oh, you don't cry when somebody passes away, right? Yeah, just keep quiet. It just dawned upon me, this is so much of this is the culture of Chinese upbringing. Shut up, don't cry. You're not allowed to cry. Boys don't cry. You are grown up already. You are growing up. Don't cry. Not allowed to cry, right? Just bite the bullet and soldier on. That's how we were taught. But that's why many of us who grew up at that time with those kind of upbringing all suffer from a single similar disease. This disease is called midlife crisis. This midlife crisis is what caused so many of us to, I'm not happy what I'm doing. I've studied what my parents asked me to study. I've done whatever society says is supposed to be doing. I'm this, I'm that, but I'm lost. So think about what I want to leave. I have this line for all of you to reflect upon. What is the difference between Arhat's liberation and a Buddha's enlightenment? What is the major line? There's something for each and every one of us to think about. All right? So that's my answer. That's my answer for this question. Okay. So next.
Thank you.
Next question.
Did you want to do more of this?
Just one. Whew.
There's one more question on the ground.
Venerable, my question is, the practice of equanimity, I agree with you, is the very foundational practice, very important. I myself struggle with this actually every day. For all mother sanctioned beings, so for those in the war-torn country, in Gaza, not just the Palestinians, the soldiers who have to kill the Ukrainians, those who are facing disaster, the only thing I can do for them is prayers, sending positive energy. But for my Dharma family, for my own family, when they need me here, I can do it. So I can put in more effort, more energy to help them in whatever way they can, so that they can be happy. So there's no equanimity in this, from my point of view. How do you reconcile this?
The equanimity with responsibility. Yeah, this is something I've thought about myself, and people often ask about this. There might be different ways of putting this, but if you think about, all of the Buddha's teachings as being like medicine, then what is equanimity the medicine for? I think we already know it's the medicine against, the medicine to cure this grasping attachment to some people, sort of aggressive enmity towards others. They're not really caring about others. It's not the medicine to cure being responsible, being a responsible person, having people that you're responsible for, and what's the word you would say, like respecting those responsibilities? Is that the expression?
Basically trying to come to terms with what you can actually do for them from the point of view of equanimity, because the amount of effort and time and resources you put on different people at different circumstances, different places are different.
I think it's just, maybe I'm going in completely the wrong direction, but I think it's just the reality of our lives really is just, you can't actually take care of everybody. I mean, if I think about my teachers, they also somehow, it's not so much they're limited, but they don't take responsibility, like there's certain groups that they'll take responsibility for, the people that have faith in them and that they're, devoted to them and so on. No, that's not exactly what I'm trying to say. It's just a fact of life that you can't help everybody, right? There's the aspiration to be enlightened so that you're there for everybody, but even if you're enlightened, you can't help everybody. So before achieving enlightenment, it's not surprising that we wouldn't be able to help everybody. So and if I think about it, one of my teachers, I was quite surprised in a way, but he was talking about how, he, of course, like with Bodhicitta, we tried to cultivate this wish to help all sentient beings. But he was talking about how he was very devoted to his teacher while he was alive. Passed away a few years ago now. But he told me, like, even if I can't help everybody, at least I'll help my teacher. This one person, I'll help him. Helping him, while he was getting old and needed that kind of service. And I think also in a way, it's kind of an attitude, I think. There's, it's just a way of thinking, like when you're helping one person, that's how your dedication to all sentient beings is expressing itself. by helping this person or this limited number of people.
Okay, so it's basically doing your best at that point of time for whoever you are doing for.
Yeah.
So can you then perhaps, for those people who you say prayers, it's an aspiration equanimity. For those whom you can put resources on, it's action equanimity. Can you say that?
Yeah, maybe. On the other hand, I think of 𝙑𝙬𝙧𝙖𝙗𝙡𝙀 and it's interesting because I don't know if you have had any contact with 𝙑𝙬𝙧𝙗𝙀, Lama Rinpoche. He was always reciting these mantras and transmitting these mantras to us to recite, and all of these prayers and so on. And he would talk about the incredible benefits and how, if you do this meditation, you're liberating all sentient beings, enlightening all sentient beings. And I so often thought to myself, but it's not true. How could it be true? And then, I don't know if I really got the answer, but anyway, I came up with an answer that satisfied me, which is that it's actually somehow an answer that was inspired by something I saw in one of Geshe Zopa's Lamrim books. I'm sure it was there that I saw it, and I can't remember which volume it was, but it had quite an impact on me. He said, what mainly counts at the time of death is what you've been doing with your mind during your life, not so much what you've been doing on a physical level, what you've been doing with your mind. So I think what Rinpoche was encouraging us to do was to spend our lives benefiting all sentient beings in the mind, in that way, in the way that Geshe Zopa was saying. So in other words, in one way, you could say that on a practical level, there's just a limited number of sentient beings that you can help. But by following that kind of teaching from people like Kyabje Zopa Rinpoche, reciting these mantras and enlightening all sentient beings, benefiting all sentient beings, liberating all sentient beings, wearing mantras and reciting mantras that are going to liberate all sentient beings that come into contact with you, that everybody that comes into contact with you, even with the air that are contacted by the air that blows past you and then touches them, it'll stop them from being born in the lower realms ever again, that kind of thing. Doing that kind of practice and not limiting yourself, I think is quite a powerful thing, actually. And that's what, for me, is the meaning of what Geshe Zopa said when he said, what really counts is what you've been doing with your mind during your life.
Thank you. I like the answer.
Good. Phew.
Hello, Venerable. I'd like to ask you a question. Okay, the story starts off with there's a minister came to a village. When he was at the village, then there's a man was not happy over the current life that we have. So he more or less go to the front of the house of the minister and start to scold him.
Minister?
Yeah, minister.
Okay, yeah.
So while scolding him, this minister have compassion, practice bodhichitta, as what the topic is. Then he say forgive him. So the more he forgive him, this guy become more bored. The more that he realized that he was not being punished, he start to scold more vigorously or use all kind of bad words against him. But this thing went on for years, and then this minister did not take any action against this man. So when years passed, he's old already. This minister retired. Came another new minister, and then this guy, thinking that this minister would not do anything when he scolded him. So he would do the same thing. So when this new minister knew about it, he captured him and executed him. So now the question is how you practice bodhicitta, and when the old minister knew about it, he regretted. Why? Because he said if that year he scolded him, he would have captured him and imprisoned him for a few days. He will learn his lesson. So the question now is how you know which level of bodhicitta you should practice. Because by doing bodhicitta practice, you are actually so-called giving people excuse or making people feel more aggressive against you because they think that you can take it, but they don't know that you are practicing bodhicitta, but one way or the other you are actually encouraging his bad habit of communication or action. So what the question is, bodhicitta is easy to say, but practicing how to come to a point that you do it so-called mindfully and with wisdom. So this topic until now I a bit so-called skeptical on which level should I actually stop for the person to harm or do bad thing against another person or yourself.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I had the same thinking, right? But I make it very simple. If now I'm a judge, right? Should I approve death penalty or should I not approve death penalty?
Well, I think if you're actually a bodhisattva, that's one thing. I can hardly imagine, what I would do if I was actually a bodhisattva. And in the meantime, you just do your best according to your wisdom and try to. Acting out of anger and so forth, that's not going to help. Although, actually, we're probably going to do that sometimes anyway. And you just have to do your best, don't you? Use to be the kindest you can, with as much wisdom as you can, then make the best decision that you can. And even if you think about it, the first minister, maybe he felt like he'd made a mistake, but maybe he didn't make a mistake. It wasn't his fault that this guy ended up being executed. He didn't want that to happen. He didn't ask for that to happen. Sometimes it happens like that. You do what's actually the best thing, and then still things don't work out for the person. What can you do?
I want to add on, this is some questions like this are more cultural in thinking. Like the Asians would like to take on something that they need not be responsible for, right? They need not be responsible for, but they will still say that, oh, it is my fault, or because if I have done it, then it will not happen like this and stuff like that. What I want to encourage is, all of us should have the understanding that we are all walking towards our own awakening. There's no absolute right or wrong answer. There is a response from you as according to the best of your capability. That's all. And nobody can actually say who is 100% right and who is 100% wrong. Just like yesterday I asked this question, right? How would you feel when a woman can have a few husbands and have many children with different men, right? It is to the Western thinking, this is very bad. But to those people living in the Himalayan region, This is the perfectly normal thing. Right? So actually, by whose standard and by whose rights that say that this is right and this is wrong? Now, your question about equanimity, Bang, about this, then I have something to share with you is awakening must stem from your realization that all sentient beings exist only in your own mind. All sentient beings truly exist only in your own mind. There can be everything everywhere, but everything everywhere manifests it out to be like this or like that because of our own pollution. That's why Lord Buddha, Gautam Siddhartha showed that, actually the translation of birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha sounds quite funny, because Shakyamuni Buddha wasn't born Shakyamuni Buddha, So, birthday of Gautam Siddhartha, I agree, but, birthday of Buddha, then sounds funny, right? So, I give a good example would be, you see, this Shakyamuni Buddha, he is already awakened, fully enlightened. But how did he get there? Right? I explained before that bodhicitta should really come from this understanding, like when you watch an Indian Hindi movie or Indian movie, right? There's always a hero, isn't it? There's a hero who wants to save the world. So this spirit of enlightenment actually is a heroic spirit within this person who wants to save the world, to free them from their own suffering, to lead them, to guide them, to support them, to hold them to the best of the ability of something called karmic connection. That's it. So why do we need to do many things to be of benefit for others? Is because to create as much karmic connection, auspicious karmic connections as possible. And so that in our unceasing attempt to claim enlightenment, which will never come, the more you want to claim enlightenment as yours, it will never come. And then just let it be. And about this, what is right and what is wrong, what everybody say is right may not be right. Remember that. What everybody say is wrong may not be wrong. So as a bodhisattva, as a Buddhist and a bodhisattva, we need to take this thing out and watch it, pluck it out and see what's this thing that every one of us say is right and wrong, is good, is bad, is this and that and everything. So anyway, I'm not in the position to pass judgment, but so since we don't have the wisdom to pass judgment, let's choose to live with compassion and loving kindness. Especially that it has to be rooted with gratitude. If there's no gratitude, all this loving kindness, compassion and everything, all is just talk. Right? So please, any other question to ask?
Any question from the ground here?
Good evening, Rambo and Rinpoche. Still on the question on grieving. So how do we grieve in a way that we won't go into a negative thought? Like last week I lost a colleague. Quite a few of us, colleagues, were all emotional. But a lot of us hide our feeling. Even for me, sometimes when I think about him, the feeling comes, and then sometimes there'll be this fear that we'll go to these spiral negative thoughts and we might be going to depression. So how do we grieve and let the feeling come yet not go into negative thought?
I don't think that it would go into a negative direction if you would bring it back to compassion all the time, and maybe also in terms of gratitude, thinking of what this person has done for you, and so celebrating that, rejoicing in that. Then I don't see how it could go in a negative spiral.
Sometimes, yeah, we are grateful to it, and then we might go in this thought thinking that why did we do something different and then this thing won't happen, or did it happen because of what we didn't?
That's actually good. If you're saying what I think you're saying, actually that's a very good point, and that's what a lot of people feel. Right? Is I mean, you know, somebody dies of old age, that might be a bit different, but even then, yeah, the feeling like somehow it's my fault. Somehow, if I had only done something different, maybe this wouldn't have happened. If I think in my own life recently, my nephew committed suicide. So of course everybody's like, we should have seen it coming, we should have gone there, that kind of thing. So this, I think, is I think the word I used earlier was like not feeding the grief. And so, in other words, not like turning the grief into something poisonous by thinking in that way. And I think that really, in that case, it's just a question of seeing that's where my mind is going, and I'm not going to let it go there because it's stupid, it's rubbish, basically. This is what everybody's always doing. There's even a name for it, like the survivor, whatever. What do they call it? Survivors? Anyway, like feeling of guilt at being the survivor, why it was me that's left behind and why it wasn't me that went, kind of thing. It's just a dead end. And I think simply recognizing it as a dead end helps a lot. It's a bit like with anger. Maybe, like the solution to anger isn't just thinking, this is stupid. But thinking this is stupid does help, like jealousy. I mean, it's just so stupid. I find that helps, actually. If I find, like feelings of jealousy towards somebody arising, thinking to myself, this is just so stupid. It doesn't help me, doesn't help anybody, there's no help to anything. And so just recognizing, this is so stupid, this is just no help at all. I find it helps anyway.
If somebody died, we feel sad, right?
Yes.
If you can see the dead person doesn't want you to feel sad, because the dead person will start to feel, because of me, all of you are feeling sad. Because of me and this and that. And so this will spiral. The living and the dead both feed on each other's emotional blackmail and will get suckerized. I have a suggestion, is to think about the kindness of the person who met with whatever the situation and died, and that will make you, all your company and your colleagues' life be better. His kindness made us think about how things have gone wrong, or how things could go wrong for ourselves and for our families too. And so he's manifesting that, so that we are putting on, like the road at the side have these things, what do you call?
No, warning cone.
No.
Lane marker.
barricade, yeah, maybe it's called barricade, and along the expressway there are many things there, you know. So this is one way of thinking. The other way is, what has anybody actually celebrated his life? His story, and his sacrifices for his family. Of course, I know your colleague that passed away is a migrant worker from India. Yeah, young, 32 years old, died of heart attack while driving his bike after work. And so he died, and of course it's a terrible shock for everybody. And so you see, the main thing for each and every one of us is, have we checked our own health? Did we try to put in together, everybody put in together, maybe send some money back home to his family in India, rather than just setting up some condolences which would mean nothing to the family? Right? Is there something that all the colleagues and everybody can do for themselves, take care of those who are still alive? Did everybody go for checkup, for health checkup? And how much do you value in life? Right? And so look at this. I would say there's not much celebratory thinking in the Asian society. Asian society is always about suffering. You know, it's always about suffering, thinking about suffering, and then because of the suffering, and there's a lot of suffering, isn't it? Asian society thinking, yeah? Whether it's Indian, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, and there's always a lot of suffering, a lot of sadness and everything. But really, we should really look at Buddha's thinking about gratitude and rejoicing. And cherishing. What is the basis of rejoicing? Rejoicing is cherishing what we still have, and not putting on a show about, oh yeah, I'm just here, slowly I let them suffer until I feel it's good enough, you know, or until they must deserve it, and everything. All of us think like that and feel like that. So this is what I suggest, is to maybe in your company, instead of, you have already done the funerary rites, you know, maybe within the 49 days, have something that will celebrate his ideals of life, you know, and that everybody will remember your colleague.
Rinpoche, what you're saying is to prevent from going negative is to give positive meaning to the situation or his life. Is that right? Because
yes. Give positive meaning to whatever the situation may be.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions? Please ask Venerable Steve, yeah?
Any more questions from anyone on the ground? Venerable, any more sharings with us? Because it's a rare opportunity for us to meet you in Singapore here. So please do share more with us.
No stress.
Well, I don't know. I don't think really I've got much more to say.
Okay.
It's been really nice, I have to say. I would never have imagined that this would happen, but it's happened, and I don't know. I really value this connection, so thank you. That's been very nice, and may it continue.
Thank
Thank you.
Venerable. May we have Anila to do the prayers of the teaching?
Okay, we'll do the long life prayers for the 14th Dalai Lama. You can look at the prayer on the screen. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful transcendent Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Okay, long life prayer for 𝙑𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙧𝙖𝙗𝙡 Rinpoche. May the teachings of the Buddhas flourish, and may those upholding the teachings have long lives. May all transmigrators be well and happy, and may their temporary and ultimate aims be accomplished. Okay, long life prayers for Singha Rinpoche. Om Savasti, like the countless light rays that radiate from Ruby Mountain, exquisite Amitayu, Lord of everlasting life, who captivates and one does not tire sing, whose essence is of infinite life, the nectar of immortality, please instantly grant our Guru the CD of stable and everlasting life. You're intelligent and skillful in upholding the traditions of Buddha, spreading holy Dharma through explanations practices, in order to lead disciples onto the path to liberation. You're the one who is Angkor guide. Please live a long and stable life. I request respectfully my precious Holy Guru to enjoy excellent health. I request respectfully my precious Holy Guru to live a long life. I request respectfully my precious Holy Guru that your Dharma activities spread and flourish far and wide. I request respectfully my precious Holy Guru to bless me to be never separated from you. In all my future rebirths, may I never be separated from my perfect Guru. May I enjoy the magnificent Dharma, and by completing the qualities of stages and path, may I quickly attain the state of Vaishdhara. Due to the blessings of the Guru, the three jewels, and especially due to enlightened activities of Mazu Gyalmo, may Singha Tutan Namdul Rinpoche's life be stable and his activities increase. Long life prayer for Kandrola. Homage to the assembly of deities who are the source of all 100 varieties of preciousness, by your knowledge, compassion, and power deliberates from mere seeing and hearing. From the blessing and power of the truth of the assembly of deities, may the lotus of long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity blossom. Okay, let's do dedication. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha, that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from the suffering. May the precious Buddhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anila. Thank you, Venerable. No prostration required tonight. Thank you very much. And Joshua, can we have the announcement?
So once again, thank you, Singha Rinpoche, and thank you, Venerable Steve Kalia, for tonight's Dharma conversations and chit-chat session. So right now, as I would like to introduce to you all the activities that the temple will be organizing the upcoming week, and also in this month of Vesak, which will be in 3 weeks' time. So firstly, tomorrow, 3 p.m., there is a Gyapsi Puja happening tomorrow. This is a very powerful and renowned Vajrayana ritual for purifying obstacles and dispelling. For those participants who would like to attend on site, you can bring some coins as well as a small piece of fabric about 3 by 3 inches, which you can cut from a worn t-shirt or a top or a blouse, right? And then you can bring it for the puja tomorrow. So do join us on site. And also on the 18th of May, we have this very special Vesak program highlight, which is called Journey with Buddha. So we have organized a Vesak processional float, which will carry the sacred Rupa and relics of Shakyamuni Buddha from downtown to the neighborhoods all around our island city-state. So you can be part of this tour and also this procession by registering online, and also by finding out more details online via the QR code or on the Thich Choling website. So once again, so on the 11th of May, Saturday, we'll be celebrating Manjushri Bodhisattva's birthday. There will be 2 rituals conducted. One will be Ocean of Offering, clouds raining down good fortune, and also at 11 a.m. there will be a grand offering before all Buddhas. So it will be the 11 a.m. ritual is a Chinese chanting session. So the public is welcome. All of you are welcome to join us to participate in this Chinese chanting. So next, another highlight of the Vesak program is that we will be reciting the Great Celestial Mansion Sutra, which is the 大宝楼阁广播善住秘密陀罗尼经. So this sutra was introduced to us by Singha Rinpoche last year, and this year we will be reciting it again over 3 sessions on the 8th, 11th, and the 12th. So on the 8th is a weekday night at 8 p.m. and 11th and 12th of May it will be at 1 p.m. on the weekend. So next, one of the highlights of our Vesak program is the Animal Blessing Night, which will take place on the eve of the Vesak public holiday on Tuesday night, 21st April, 7:30 to 10 p.m. So those of you who have pets, you are welcome to bring them down. For those of you who do not have pets, you are also welcome to join in the festivities and soak up the fun and all the love that we have for our furry friends. So you can come down from 7:30 p.m. onwards to 10 p.m. To just bring your pet down and walk around the temple compound ground, to bring them around the stupa or around the money wheel for blessings. So following on from the animal blessing night will be the Teacher Choning's 𝙑𝙚𝙣𝙚 Day program from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So for those who are new, we'll be organizing a carnival on the road, right, as we have occupied the whole road and right us facing the temple entrance. So you're welcome to join us for this full day of events. Certain highlights: in the morning at 9:30 a.m. is the unveiling of the giant wish fulfilling Tanga. So there'll be also blessing sessions organized, and at 3 p.m. there will be special teaching by 𝙑𝙗𝙧𝙧𝙀 Rinpoche. So for those of you who would like to join us on site, you can come down in the morning or in the afternoon for any of the activities during the 𝙑𝙧𝙧 Day Carnival. So to find out more, the program is now published online, as well as all the 𝙑𝙧 Day offerings for this year's 𝙑𝙧 Prayer Festival. You can scan them. You can look it up on the Teacher Choling website or scan the QR code on screen. So once again, thank you for joining us in today's live stream, and we look forward to seeing you on site at the main hall tomorrow for the Gyapshi Puja. Thank you everyone, and we wish you a pleasant weekend.